Hello, welcome back to AirJobBoss TV. Today we're continuing our interview question and answer series, and this is Tell Me About a Time. This will be answered in the SPAR or STAR format, and it goes like this. Tell me about a time you broke standard operational procedures. I don't break standard operational procedures. Never. I won't. Right? Now, a lot of airlines value the characteristic of integrity and self-reflection, self-improvement, and admission of mistakes. Of course, you don't want to, admit to something that was significantly safety threatening. So you want to make this a small thing. Also, it's helpful if you make it an innocent mistake. What you do not want to do is what's called willful non-compliance, meaning you did it on purpose. Well, I just didn't like this procedure, so I don't do that. I don't wear shoulder harnesses during takeoff and landing. It makes it difficult to fly the airplane. No, that's not it. No willful non-compliance. No. So you're going to frame it in, I made a mistake. Somebody pointed out the mistake, and I corrected myself, and I thanked them for doing that. Yeah, and I never did it again. So here's the story. Well, I was flying into Dallas the other day, and it was marginal weather. We were flying in ILS, and we got the clearance for the approach. So I turned dogleg to final for runway 9er, and I hit approach on the flight management computer, and the first officer said, "Hey, Captain, you cannot hit approach with that being outside the localizer protected area because they changed it." They changed it. They changed what? They changed the procedure, Captain. We have to press localizer first, then capture the localizer. Then we can press approach, because then the glide slope will capture. Otherwise, if you press approach, it could capture the glide slope outside the protected area and have us descending outside the localizer protected area on glide slope. And I said, "Oh, wow, yeah, no." And so I hit localizer until it captured, and then I'm like, "Okay, approach." And the FO was like, "Yeah, that's it." And we flew in, we landed, we got back to the gate after shutdown. I said, I didn't realize that was a new procedure. And the FO said, "Yeah, it just came out just actually yesterday. It's right here in my iPad. Let me show you, Captain." And they showed me where it had changed. And because our iPads are updated electronically, mine had not synced because the hotel we were staying at did not have Wi-Fi, and it will not sync on cellular data. So what I've done is now, before each time I go flying, I make sure that I sync up, I'm able to sync up off of the airplane's Wi-Fi or by the station's Wi-Fi. And then in the highlighted section at the beginning of every manual, there's a highlighted section, and it goes over the changes. So I make sure to check those. Okay, does that make sense? So the best scenario is a procedure change that changed very recently that you weren't aware of, and someone pointed out to you, and then you complied with it real time, and then they showed you, you validated, and you set a system in place so that you would not have that problem where you didn't know the new procedure again. Yeah? You can also do this in the training scenario. This is a great environment to tell them that you did not, or you broke SOP. And you can say, "During my training, I was in the training simulator. Everything was falling apart. The world was collapsing. The aircraft was falling apart. And I got a little backed up, and I started doing things associated with my previous airplane, the 737 or the CRJ 900, because it was habit in a little bit of a rush situation where I was flying an Airbus 330 or a 320, or I was flying ERJ 135, 145, and I was quickly then corrected by the instructor. He's like, "What are you doing?" And I'm like, I thought I was doing it correctly, but since everything was on fire and I was confused, I naturally reverted back and to something else which was completely against standard operational procedure in this plane. So as a result, after I got to my hotel room that night and I began reflecting on what had happened, I decided that it could be cured by slowing down my processes in the sim and during emergencies. So now I have a process where when something goes really catastrophically wrong, I give myself a breath and about 2 to 3 seconds to panic, and that gives me a time to collect myself, get a wider perspective on where I am, what the procedures are, and what emergencies I have to address and in what order. And that has been a correction factor for me. But that's one time when I really went off the rails on SOP and was able to get a technique for future training where that wouldn't happen. Okay, something like that. Anyway, this is nearing 6-minute video, and I think you get a basic idea of that. My advice, if you have a major airline interview and you really want that job, considering the amount of compensation you're going to earn over a lifetime of employment with that airline, you really want to prepare yourself properly before you go into that interview. And that's where AirJobBoss comes in our one-on-one preparation. If you're interested in learning more about our preparation, click the link below at airjobboss.com, and there's more information there. Otherwise, subscribe to this channel, share it, and like it if it's helpful for you. We're going to continue to make content here at AirJobBossTV, so we'll see you on the next video.